adopt a revised records policy and declare an emergency. Sylvia, this is yours.
Yep.
I say we take that to third reading. Does anybody object? Anybody still want to talk about this one?
Nope.
Okay.
Just adopt.
Ordinance number 51, 2015. I'm going to take that one. That's an ordinance amending Chapter 1327 of codified ordinances by repealing requiring rental property exterior inspections and fees. Does anybody have a problem? Want to talk about that? So I'd like to take that to third reading. Okay. Okay, we're moving on. Ordinance number 52, 2015. Jan, that is yours, and that's, we're going to be talking at a public hearing at 7 p.m., and that's the ordinance amending the section of the 37503, the codified ordinance relating to the snowmobiles and off-highway motorcycles and all-purpose vehicles.
We're going to keep it at second.
Okay. No problem.
Even though there's a public hearing, isn't the public hearing
Yeah,
tonight?
it's 7 o'clock.
That way it gives time for the comments.
All right,
Anybody who
that's fine.
can watch it.
Ordinance number 61, Nick, would you please take that? That's an ordinance providing for the submission of the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to section 301. This is the charter stuff. Dave wants to take the floor, and go on and go over all the charter. You want to go over all the charter stuff again, or do we all know kind of what?
Well, we did it last time, but if anybody has any questions, you know, or we can just, you know, we can hold it for
We're
the
going
next
to
time.
second reading right now, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is just second reading.
Right.
Right, okay.
So do you want to wait and talk about it on the floor as you go along, or
No.
do you want to talk
Why
about
don't
it
we
right
do it
now?
at the third reading?
Yeah, let's not do it tonight.
He kind of did
I
that.
did it already.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I think we need to have a legal opinion on, so it'll be 11:30 before.
Okay.
Sylvia will be sitting there.
I know,
We're gonna
there'll
do
be a
second.
motion to adjourn, right?
We're doing second on all the.
Right, we're gonna do second, yes,
That
we're
makes
doing
sense.
second on,
Yeah, we have to,
Ordinance
really.
number 62, 2015, I'll take that one for the charter changes, and, ordinance number 63, Jan, that's gonna be you. And then, ordinance number 64, Sylvia, that will be you. And then ordinance number 65, Dave, that will be yours.
Okay.
Jan?
It should already be
It's
printed
already
in there.
written in there.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't
already
have-
written in there.
Okay.
Ordinance
Yeah,
number
you don't have to.
66, Nick, that will be you. And then ordinance number 67, that will be me, providing for submission, okay. And no, ordinance number 68, Jan, that will be you. All right, and then now we're on ordinance number 69,
That'd be nine,
Sylvia,
right?
that will be you.
It's all
And now-
second reading.
Now we are on, yes, we're doing second reading on all of them. Resolution number 70, 2015. Sylvia, I'm going to go on and give you that one. That's a
Alright.
resolution affirming the appointment of Claudia Dillinger to the position of Human Resource Personnel Administration. And Don, you said she'll be starting on Monday, correct?
So we're
we
gonna
need to
do,
go to 3 readings.
3 readings tonight.
Is everybody okay with 3 readings? Jan, are you?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Ordinance number 71, I will take that one. It's an ordinance confirming the appointment of Crystal Crosby by the mayor to the position membership and special programs coordinator of the Parks and Recreation Department.
Can I have that
Don?
one on because I represent the Parks and Rec.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I'll put my take you on. And that is replacing Chris, am I correct?
Angela's right behind me.
Oh, she is? Oh, hi, Angela. Hi.
Angela, could you just give us about 2 minutes on Crystal?
Yes, she is coming from the YMCA of Greater Cleveland. She has extensive background in membership and in marketing. That's her current duties now. She's been doing that for several years, and she was the top pick out of all of the candidates. You know, we got a lot of applications, so we're hoping that she can join our team here as soon as possible.
Okay, great.
Does everybody have any problem going with 3 readings?
No, she's got great background.
All right, ordinance number 72, 2015. Dave, would you please take that?
Sure.
And it's an ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Matthew Maloney to the position of part-time firefighter. And we're gonna do 3 readings on that. And ordinance 73, am I going too fast?
No, but I didn't know you could talk that fast either.
Wait, it's
We're impressed.
Ordinance 73 is Nick. Nick, would you please take that? That's an ordinance confirming the appointment of the mayor of Steve Von Driscoll. Is that how you say his name? to the position of part-time firefighter, 3 readings on that, Nick. Ordinance number 74, Sylvia, could you please take that? That's an ordinance amending ordinance number 117,
Got it.
2014.
We're
Pay
gonna-
grade 7 for part-time dispatchers, that's what you guys all discussed
Right.
in your safety meeting,
Correct.
correct? Is
And that's all
everybody
been
agreed?
discussed. I'm willing to go with 3 if everybody
Yeah,
else.
are you guys all okay with that?
All we need to do is put in section 2, the date,
The what,
the
Jan?
effective date in section 2.
Did you,
Do
Sylvia?
we need to amend them?
Yeah, so Sylvia,
You
you,
don't depend on anything on the floor, because it hasn't been introduced yet.
Okay,
we
So
can
you just
just,
put it in there.
okay, right.
okay, so we'll do 3 readings on that, everyone?
and
Okay.
what date
So
are we
they-
putting in here?
The-
Today,
What
tomorrow?
were we talking about?
The pay grade for
It's a
The pay
part-time.
grade for part-time dispatchers is increased to.
Right, and, it would be effective immediately of the ordinance. It doesn't need to have, is there a spot?
There's a
for it?
date in there. Pay grade change effective the X day of X. X of X.
If you want to, or the, I just want to see how it's,
So we can just insert it now, right?
you
You
can.
do 3, and what date do you wanna put in there, Josephine?
Well, I was gonna say the pay period, it starts, June 14th.
All right.
If you wanna do that, I didn't know.
I'm just saying, it should have been.
14th of June?
Let me find the ordinance of which there's billions.
Nick, I have a question for you on this one real fast. Oh, be fast about it, cause I'm moving on. When you guys were, I was sitting over there and I took notes, but you guys were discussing this, and this was supposed to have been a full-time job
No,
for
No.
the dispatch, wasn't it?
part-time.
It is gonna be part-time?
No, it's part-time. They
It's
were
so-
saying that they were not, the entry grade level was not,
Attractive.
attractive enough to people
Okay,
who were
just making
applying
sure. I
for
thought it was
full
like a
grade.
full-time
full-time.
by
Alright.
contract, by
Right.
union contract.
We're
All
not
right.
able to get part-time with the beliefs that we have.
Just making sure.
And people.
The
All
pay
right.
grade starts on June 14th,
That's
so
okay.
that makes you that.
So I'm going 3 readings?
Yes, we're going 3 readings. What is it, Josephine?
June 14th starts the pay grade.
Yeah, so just, that needs to be inserted. Can you
Okay.
insert that in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Ordinance number, sorry about that, I just kinda thought I heard full-time, okay. Ordinance number 75, 2015, Jan, could you please take that? That's an ordinance appropriating money for necessary computer maintenance. This is Don, right Don, you want, you need $4,000 for,
3,000, so.
Yeah, it's
and
right here.
We need it tonight because we have a month till the next meeting, so.
okay.
There's a memo from the
Right,
economy.
is-
There's things that come in annually.
Is
that
everybody
we get
okay with
account
3
for.
readings?
That's fine.
Absolutely.
All right,
Except for the
ordinance,
This will eliminate spam, mail.
no, it's just
Good
easy, get the
God.
computer.
Why don't we pay twice as much and get rid of all this spam? I hate it.
Ordinance number 76, 2015, Nick, would you please take that? It's an ordinance authorizing the city engineer to advertise for bids for the replacement of the Suze culvert as necessitated by the recent pavement failure at that location. We already appropriated money.
Yes.
We already
Yes.
passed some, this is,
I
we're
think-
moving on, right?
I think we talked about a study, but given that there's currently a monster sinkhole and at any given time that road will be sunk
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, I believe we need to move
We gotta
forward.
fly it.
Yeah, so we're three readings, everybody okay with 3 readings?
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on to ordinance number 77, 2015, Sylvia, that's an ordinance authorizing the city engineer to prepare bid documents for the 2015 pavement, preventative maintenance program and to advertise for bids. I think we should just go 3 readings myself, anything, okay? I
This
don't-
is for all the
Nick is right there.
I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Let's,
Nick, what are we talking about?
This is crack sealing, seal coating, kind of
Mhm.
stuff for your roads that are still good, want to keep them good.
okay,
Okay.
that's fine. then.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, ordinance number 78, 2015, Dave, would you please take that? That's an ordinance authorizing retention for GPD Group for professional engineering and surveying services regarding the ledge and Bedford Road drainage study. And Don, is this part of Northfield and,
Not
No.
this one, no, this is our people that are flooded on North Bedford, this is all
okay,
part.
all right.
That's
Okay.
what, I had a bunch of these printed off for you guys to take a look at because
Right.
there's a few that I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of what's happening there.
Yeah, we already been out there.
So, I mean, if we weren't gonna go 3 on this one.
No, I do not want to go 3 on this. We have a set of priorities that we had in the capital plan, in the budget for this year. And I don't think that this follows that particular plan, so I'd like to know more about this and see what we're talking about.
I wanna point out a few things about that then. If you looked at these pictures,
Yeah,
every single one of these driveways are undermined. And it takes one bad storm to where none of those people are gonna have those driveways anymore. I mean, that sinkhole right there is about 8 feet deep.
well, that's different from,
This was
I've
just,
been to several places around the city on that Sunday after the storm. A lot of people sustained damage in their driveways and that kind of thing. And I understand, and there's pictures everywhere of people having driveway issues as well as other issues, but we can't solve everybody's problem at once. We had a plan, and I think we should at least review what we're doing, but certainly we had a process that we were going through in terms of stormwater control. And I don't see changing priorities like this with 3 readings and nothing done.
Hasn't the stormwater committee had an order of?
Yes, that's right, it doesn't follow.
Nick, do you wanna come on up here and talk a little bit about some of this stuff that's
So
going
this
on?
study affects primarily, this is a blow-up map. FEMA revised their flood insurance rate maps. Anything that's in red is a structure that will be completely inundated with water based on that rain event.
On what rain event?
100-year storm.
Oh.
So this
Which
study.
we just had another one, which we said we'd never get for another 100 years from the last one, remember? Yeah.
100 years, that's.
These 100-year storms keep popping
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. The probability of 1 in 100.
I know, and then we had another one
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, it's amazing.
So this is primarily this area north of Ledge, and it crosses Ledge Road at North Bedford. The study would pretty much start over here by Navajo and work its way up here. So you do have a couple of homes in here that have structural flooding
So
issues.
it's not just Ledge, it's also Bedford Road.
Right.
And the whole impact between the two, which was the priority we had with detention basin, but we didn't, or not, we didn't
And
get
sometimes, I mean,
money, and then
so-
we got
so that
somebody
plan-
who's offering property, right?
The plan's a good roadmap, it's a good starting point. Sometimes things change. I mean, the first project that changed off of that prioritized list was Shepherd Hills Boulevard, which was in the study area, and it was a highly ranked area. But
Yes.
That one winter when the snow melted and we got the heavy rain and curb and gutters were washing out,
Well-
we decided in 2011 we bumped it up. So we're not disregarding the
This is from
priority
last
area.
fall, I'm reading right off of what was prepared by the building department. Culvert replacement program, stormwater maintenance, and of course, the annual compliance surveys, the mapping, Eileen Drive drainage improvement, which we've done, the OLG detention basin we haven't done, Blackhawk and Iroquois drainage improvement, and there were some other stormwater projects, but they're not shown until
So you're jumping to these now
2016.
over the ones that were already
No, wait.
on the list?
Can I address this, please?
Uh-huh.
The concern here is not just what's been going on, but what will be going on. This is nothing more than a feasibility study to see what we have to do, because there's concern with 271 being widened, and that concern didn't even exist when any studies were done in the past. So this is just feasibility. Can we do something there? It's liable to come back that we can't.
I'm not objecting to doing something, and what I'm saying is, we had a series of things that we were trying to do, including detention basins, to try to prevent the water from rolling downhill, which is part of their problem over there. We have a different area there where also Tucson, when I agree with you, has been expanded, and although you said there was stormwater quality issues they were looking at, they weren't, I gather.
They're not addressing volume.
They're not addressing volume. So to me, that is a pretty serious problem. And I don't know why ODOT doesn't address the volume issue, because we clearly have a wetland right there.
Well, if we could do a study and have something.
Well, what are we talking in terms of price here?
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
If we could do a study and tell them that there is going to be a problem, you know, we're sensing this, we might be able to even get some help with that. That would be my goal, all right? Because if they come in close to budget or under budget, we might be able to squeeze a few more dollars.
Okay, well,
I
what
think
are
the other
Nick,
thing,
what's your position on that?
Depending on which results of the study.
Right.
The it kind of steers the ship on which funding mechanisms are going to apply for.
Have you seen ODOT in the past, when there's been issues like this, step up to the plate?
Their policy is pretty much when they expand their right away, that's pretty fine.
So,
They're within their boundaries. They have to deal with the phase two requirements, and in this case, water quality.
so you.
Which is
your-
not Robert Lundgren.
So your opinion is they probably are not, no matter what the study does, they're not gonna step to the plate. Can I ask a couple other questions on your map? I'm looking at the pictures that Nick provided us, and it shows that the Ledge Road shows several of the houses that seem to be further west towards the railroad. In fact, some of his pictures are very close to the railroad bridge.
Yeah, they're probably some of these guys. I think this is the drive that's collapsing.
So what I'm trying to understand is what area are we actually talking about in this map?
In studies.
In this study, where's the study gonna go from?
So this is the entire watershed for the area. The drainage study, and we're looking at starts, the more southern one is over here by Navajo. We would study this whole corridor all the way to the other side of 271. So Ledge Road, a little bit north, up North Bedford, everything in that blue area.
Okay,
What I'm-
Where's north,
Exactly that.
where's north and where's south on this map?
This is north.
Okay.
See, part of the issue is we keep talking about, we never authorize the study, so by the time we do a study, we're not gonna do anything until another year, so. Yeah, so we need a plan. You spend the money to put the plan together, then you find the money to do it, but we've never gotten that far. We keep,
But here's the issue, we talked about the priorities, and you're right, Sylvia, but a lot of the priorities we've addressed, because a lot of those are like crossovers where, there's a sinkhole in the middle of the road, you have to address those immediately.
Well, we know that.
The question I have, in OLG, we're gonna be working on, but the question I have is more geared towards you, in that you've been out there, you've seen this, has this not bumped up in the priority list based on what you're seeing happen here? And from an engineer's perspective, is this not
I mean,
one,
you have
where
to do
these
something.
driveways
I mean,
are
Right, you've got a threat to Ledge Road in that area.
the entire road? I mean, we're armoring the road at this point, so
Right.
my fear is.
I mean, there's potential that we can identify things that the county can participate with on this because they have interests on the project as well. They've got a sanitary sewer line there that's being threatened as well, so there's a lot of opportunities.
It's the sinkholes here. I'll just let you have that. The sinkholes that are scaring me because in front of every driveway, they're all being undermined. And I think
They are, of
we
course.
are a storm event away from having no access to your home. And potentially the road getting sucked into the ground because it's
They
that
did
bad.
put riprap rock there to try to shore up those areas. There was one area
When was that put there?
that was put down a month ago by the service.
That's a Band-Aid, that's not a fix.
Well, I understand it's a
we don't
big.
wanna do Band-Aid anymore, because what this impacts is not just like road, it impacts all the way down.
I mean, the cost
Navajo.
benefits is big, right?
Yeah.
It's the northern end of town. It affects everybody
Yeah,
south.
Goes all the way, so this study at least gets us, what can we do to fix this that also impacts this where these people are in the water, but you're also saying to go a little bit on the other side of Ledge, because these people here also have issues, not just these two houses, but these little ones here, they have all of the issues. Thank goodness the creek hasn't flooded up Navajo like it did years ago. But if we don't do something,
It's
something's
beginning
gonna
to.
happen, yeah.
That creek's flooding.
What's the status on Guadalupe? I thought we were gonna do that this year, and then I.
We have money.
I know we have money, but I don't understand where we're at on it.
We haven't been able to get Father Tress at the table to talk, to renew our negotiations to get the easement for free.
Or to purchase.
Have we tried going to the diocese?
No, we're gonna deal with Father Tress because we dealt with him in the capital, so I want to
Has
start.
anybody called him?
Yeah.
And he just won't return your phone call?
No, he's out of town, he's doing this, he's doing that.
Okay.
We haven't been able to get together, but next week, the second in command, because Father Tress, Tom says he will be in, so next week is our day.
Oh, okay, good, all right.
This is, we've had storm events before. Places have been flooded. There is a place at the end of Ledge Acres there where this gentleman just put in a driveway, and his driveway was undermined by the storm.
I've been there.
there's places over on Iroquois, the roads are damaged all the way down because of water coming off of Sugar Bush, which is another one. It's not that I'm objecting to doing studies. We had an order of priority. This one was not there, and I just want to make sure we're following the commitments we've made to people. That's all.
Well, we
It's a
can
fair-
have 271.
It's a fair statement to make, but if our engineer is standing in front of us saying this has become a higher priority, then I think it's time for us to take action.
The priority relates to damage to homes, that's true, and all of that. But we haven't had an orderly look at everything that was originally recommended and the adjustments that we need to make. So we're kind of rushing into this, funding a study, and maybe there's another study we should be funding first.
But this
We
study-
have money to do a study. We need to do engineering studies for each area where there was a priority. And we have OLJ on the map to happen. I'm certainly, if Father Trask is not responsive, we'll find out, but hopefully he's going to be. And we just need to be looking at impacts on homes, what we've already said is a priority. We've had people coming in and complaining, and I understand, but other people have been in and complained also, and they have different areas of the city. So I'm just saying, this is not an orderly step here. We need to look at what do we want to expend our money on year by year here? And
All
this
right.
is one.
Let me just say
Okay.
this. The stormwater study that was done is not written in stone. Our engineers disagree with some of the things that are on there.
Okay.
All right,
Same with
so,
roads.
when that study was presented years ago, that was a great first step, but it can't be written in stone, just like anything else, our charter can't be written in stone and changed.
And actually, this
Well-
one impacts, I tell you, these homes are underwater.
Yes.
Well, that's
I
a
got
different
pictures.
These homes are,
And you-
no,
and you-
but how can that be a different problem?
Cost
There's-
benefit, same on this, if you do identify a solution, is everybody having to agree, solve that.
Well, plus ledge, my fear is the pictures you're showing me, I may not have ledge roads
This,
until we do
if
something.
you guys take a look at this map, this extends all the way to Crow. I mean, this is not a small area of a
Right.
problem, and this is significant. And now I want to point something out too, that Dave made the best point when we're talking about this problem. He went there in 2006. We're in 2015, we've done nothing.
Well, no, wait a minute. We have done something. We started a process.
We talked.
We followed the priorities that were recommended for Eileen and for OLG, okay? So it's true between the study and this past year, we didn't do anything, I agree. But we did do things last year, we're doing things this year. And I don't have any objection to making adjustments and priorities, don't get me wrong. It's that, in fact, we probably should review everything that's done in an orderly way. But this is like, okay, well, somebody's come in and complained, so now we're gonna go do that. I just think that we need to look through this, come up with a comprehensive look at this. Which things do we wanna do first? Fund this year, fund next year, fund the following year. And, you know, I know we had a bad storm there. We had a lot of damage in different parts of the city. But solutions to this are not simply to go do a huge study. And let me ask the question, what are we talking about in terms of this study, in terms of cost? You're talking about $50,000, that's
What
correct.
is the problem, and here's why I say this. We've got on here, and we have spent money in Lake Forest. Lake Forest was not ahead of this has always been ahead of Lake Forest.
I agree.
So people came in and complained about Lake Forest, and all of a sudden, everybody's out taking care of Lake Forest. Not saying they don't have a problem. This problem is more severe. They haven't had flooding at Lake Forest. These homes are underwater from all the way down. It's not just Mrs. Loya and her neighbors.
I mean, you have
It's
like
my
I said,
friends over here, their neighbors have come to me.
These are the properties to the south.
This is, yeah,
This is the overall map, Dave, this is the overall map, they're just blown up in different areas, so you could actually see them.
If we
So the
keep
red
saying,
properties.
Red
are the
properties are the
that-
properties affected.
right, we
The
keep saying
100
we'll study it
inundated
next
and
year,
the 100
maybe
are
year
affected
after.
underwater.
By the time we
I'm not-
approve the money to study,
How long will it take to study?
10 weeks.
And Nick, and I'm gonna ask this question again to be clear. is this stormwater problem moved to the top of the priority list at this point? In your opinion, with the other ones you know we have?
Yeah, it was anything up at the top of your watershed should be.
So I mean, in terms of our problems that we need to address,
Yeah.
this one has jumped leaps and bounds to the top due to the deterioration of the properties and everything else that's going on.
Well,
Am I
I
correct?
think he hits even better, it's the watershed of Indian Creek.
Right.
That,
Okay.
that it has a larger impact. The pipe
Impact
at
it would be
Guadalupe, trust me, I know all about it. It should never been put in, but it's not, it was a man-made creative
Well,
problem.
here's,
This is a
I mean,
problem.
I don't wanna go off on a tangent on Guadalupe. We're ready to go with the engineering. Dave, we did the preliminary hydraulic study in 2011 when
For
council.
Guadalupe?
When council authorized that, we did the preliminary hydraulics. We sized it. We got far enough along, similar to what we're asking here for Ledge, we got far enough along that we identified the solution, so we were able to sit down with the church and negotiate something. That pipe that was put in on Shepherd Road to divert the flow is a 12-inch pipe. In my opinion, it's oversized. So you're talking about a couple areas on, acreage-wise, you have an area on Shepherd Road that's really not that big that was diverted. So long story short, what I'm saying is that the whole history on that project and that issue, in my opinion, the runoff from public right-of-way that was diverted through that property is not a big problem. You take that away and building and engineering has been looking at alternatives, like we said. If you take that and run it where it was originally going without affecting that system, which I don't think it will,
It
you're
doesn't
gonna
solve the
prove
problem.
It doesn't solve the problem. It eliminates the,
Which problem are you talking about, Guadalupe? So are we still thinking about trying to run it down the ditch, or are we not?
no, I think
thinking
the
of-
best solution for that issue is a detention basin.
Okay, all right.
But
This
if
is
we have a
just
hard
outside
time,
right now.
Well,
getting
I
access to
agree
that
with
property.
you based on what.
The whole history on that has always been that this
But
would
you
divert
bring
the
up a
flow
very
onto that
valid-
property. It's not a large volume. So, I mean, if you take that away and send it back where it used to
It
go,
doesn't
you're
help.
still, no, it doesn't help. You still have the problem. The point is, it's not city cost.
May I, just one quick second. The water flows from the north to the south. You're always supposed to go upstream and try and do things there because it affects downstream.
Right.
This is important because it's upstream. I'm done.
Right.
Well, and I think a good point that Nick brought up, listen to the dates he just said. 2011, Guadalupe study started, we're talking 4 years later. So if we start this now for the study, doesn't mean it's gonna be fixed this year, but at least we have a plan. The residents all along that waterway deserve the fact that we originally talked about 2009, 8,
So,
6.
say 10
Okay,
weeks
so we're
later.
The
9
study
years
was
later,
finished
still
in
talking
2011.
about it.
Well, but let's talk about realistically what we're doing here. And we did not spend very much money on Lake Forest, and I don't think we should compared to these areas here, which are much more subject to damage.
But we did spend money on it.
We did spend some,
Okay.
we didn't spend $50,000, okay? That's all, my only
Well,
point.
the
Now, wait
next
a
little piece of legislation, Sylvia, is for Lake Forest.
I get that, but
Just
what,
so you know.
what I'm saying here is this. We have an overall structure that we were looking at. We are trying to follow it. If we want to modify it, there's nothing wrong with it. We should modify it if that makes sense. I'm saying that we need to look at this in terms of, I understand this, what you're talking
No,
about.
I'm just saying, this area north of Ledge was a high priority, if not the top. I think it was, this whole area was the top priority.
Yes,
City Council reported.
correct.
So really, the priorities have not changed.
Well,
And the fact that it didn't show up on our spreadsheet for the capital request is strictly based on
Well-
financial realism. We knew we weren't gonna get $1 million for a basin.
So
well,
may-
well,
may-
that's one of the questions.
May I address,
Would cost effective.
We need to identify what's gonna work to fix it first. I don't, we even wanna get that.
So
Dave,
do we not
you know,
have
may-
50,000?
may I just address this real quickly? We're talking about something here that could help people downstream. Keep that in mind.
I think
It's a
Other
pretty big
problems
chunk.
downstream, in the Verde streets, all of that could be helped by this.
Union Streets.
Now,
The-
when we were talking before, Sylvia, There was no neighbor that says, I'll donate the property for a retention basin. You know what we thought? There is no fix there. We need to buy them out. That was our thought process. So that's why it wasn't on that sheet, because there was no fix.
Well-
Now that somebody's told us they'll donate the property, now we got a chance.
Well, we do have a chance. I'm not objecting to doing a study. What I'm saying is this: we need to do studies in a way that keeps faith with the kinds of studies that have already been done, unless we need to modify it in some way based on an assessment by the council about how to proceed. After we hear the engineers look at everything, we have one area here, that's been an area where there's been a lot of flooding, because you have a natural wetland there that's very severe, where the Hoyas home is, and in those homes right there, and it may be aggravated, you're correct, by what 271 is doing. So it's not that there isn't a reason to be concerned. I'm saying what we need to do is look at the picture of what we're gonna fund and look at the priorities. We don't need to have something presented on Tuesday night and making a decision on Thursday, we're gonna change everything. That's all I'm saying. We can wait for a month and get it all the way through it, and we won't, we
What are
will.
we getting through? What do we have to get through?
We've talked about this for a long time, Sylvia, no offense, but I mean, we've talked about this most of the
We
year.
haven't-
I mean, this is nothing that just cropped up this week. And really, in the budget, you're the keeper of the budget, you're the chair. Is $50,000 gonna wreck our budget at this
No,
point?
it will not.
So,
Honestly, I've
in good
done
faith,
projections on the
To
budget.
reduce the
this year.
level of culpability that we could potentially have here, wouldn't it make sense to just put the study through?
I think what Sylvia's saying, is that by doing this study, I don't think that we need to, I think it needs to be made clear that there's still an issue of priority.
Right.
These people need to understand that,
Well,
that we
that's
are
my
not
concern.
changing the priorities, we are funding a study, maybe. And I think everybody needs to be clear, and I think these people need to be clear, that our engineer said it'll take 10 weeks. No offense to Nick, but it usually takes a couple weeks to get started,
Well,
because I'm sure your people are already working on projects. So even at 10 weeks, or if you go to 12 weeks, that's September. The chances are that the study will not be completed probably until October, November. Is that realistic? I'm not trying to argue either way, but I think people need to know that.
But that's if we start now.
I understand
So
that,
if
but I,
we delay this another month or two, we're talking next year.
Well, we're not talking much.
Yeah.
Jan, let's just.
You're saying another month.
The question
Dave's
is the
saying I don't
priority
get
of
to
it.
November now.
That's what I keep hearing is a priority of it, and here's the man to say, is this the highest priority outside of OLG at this point?
But he-
Yes or no? There it is. So
Well,
what's the,
Nick,
Sylvia, I understand what you're saying, but he's telling you this is the highest priority in terms of severity of the problem.
I'm sorry, but having read through the previous study, the highest priority was not this area. And the recommendation has been to consider buying those homes out, particularly in the area where the wetland is. But truthfully, I'm not objecting to this. I'm just saying that they can complete a study of more than one area this year. And let's see how we're gonna fund this out. We are gonna spend money, as long as we're getting reasonable revenue flow like we've been getting since last year. This year, I anticipate, unless we have a big change in the economy, we'll have a reasonable flow. We should be able to address these issues. All I'm saying is, I'd like to see some sort of orderly look at the total picture, not just at one area. And somebody say, oh, it's very important. Of course it's
I
important.
mean, are we talking orderly look, is that a restudy of the whole study?
No. I'm saying,
Just so
where,
if there's anything I need to provide to you, I mean, let's
Well,
talk specifics.
well, why don't you allow us to look at this, Nick,
That's fine.
and then we can,
No, but you're saying, to his point, you're saying, I wanna do this orderly. He's saying, what do you need that makes you change your
What
mind?
can I do to
I'm
clarify?
coming to you, we had this list. I'm telling you now, this one moves from the bottom to the top. What more do you need? Cause Nick's willing to provide it.
okay. Why don't you allow me to look at what he's already provided and look back at the study? That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
We're
what
talking,
This is the study we know where it's gonna study.
Well,
We
I'm
talked
sorry.
about it when the original plan was put together, which you have read.
So Sylvia, do you think by second reading, the
Yes.
next council meeting, you'll have
Yes,
more of an
of
idea
course.
of how you would feel
yes,
comfortable?
rather than, 48 hours before the council meeting, this is not the way to make decisions, that's all I'm saying. We need to have a process by which we decide if we're changing priorities, which
This isn't
things.
spending the money and doing the work, this is identifying a
Well, I know that.
solution.
I'm
And
fully
to the
aware.
point, okay, I'm not getting why we gotta wait and study the study to approve the money. You just said the 50,000 is there.
Yes.
We could at least get started.
Well,
How
here's,
do we explain to people whose homes are flooding and the creek is rising and the creek is falling apart in spots, that we're gonna study the study?
listen,
And keep in mind, we're coming up into the season when we're probably gonna have a lot of storms, and it would probably be the most appropriate time to do this study. So to your point, Dave, I get a delay of a month, but coming into June and July is when we're gonna hit these storms. This is when this stuff starts to worsen.
The study isn't really based on, you're not gonna go out there in the middle of the rainstorm and watch it, are you?
No, we will be doing survey. There will be surveyors out there with.
Let me ask one more question. In the past, there has been, opinions from the law department that we don't do work for public, on private property, for sort of private property. I've argued in the past that we're going to begin to do a significant amount of stormwater work, and I'm not arguing against doing significant amount of stormwater. I'm arguing that we need to have an understanding of citizens and the city itself, what is our responsibility, what is their responsibility. I see in this case, there's a lot of issues with driveway replacements. In the past, it has been my understanding that issues of failed driveways were the private property owner's person. Are we now proposing that we change that policy? And I think that needs to have some clarification because it affects everybody in the city. Do you agree with that?
If there's confusion about the drive culvert responsibility, absolutely.
Well, and other issues on what's private and what's not. I think that we need to reopen that issue, that question at some point in time before we go too far down this road, if we haven't already gone too far down the road.
well, I would agree with that. I think we can address this. I will look at everything you presented here, Nick. I will send you questions. And to everybody on council, we're talking about our regular meeting, and I think we can address this. And if after looking at the total picture, we believe that the number of homes impacted and the other areas impacted, such as the road, are such that we need to expend $50,000 on the study, we should do it.
You can't say the number of homes though, Silly. That's not fair. I mean, it's the severity of the issue, not the number of homes affected.
But really, there have been homes affected.
That's
all the
not
way-
fair to say that. That's-
Well, wait a minute. I'm saying that when they did the original surveys, they were asking them very specifically, do you have water in your yard? Do you have damage to this? Is there water in your basement?
And to be fair to that point, there were a lot of people that responded. I've got the spreadsheet from that survey. Not everybody responded, but they were very clear. There were a lot of people in the Indian
Yeah.
states area that had water in the basement.
Yeah.
A lot of those were sewer backups coming from the
Right.
sanitary sewer. So, I mean, we just need to be careful and
Do they have
differentiate.
basements
These
down there?
projects
Mine
don't.
did that as a result of
These,
stormwater.
right.
Well, it may be.
These projects that we're talking about here do not address I&I into the sanitary sewer, so. The homes that still get stormwater through the sanitary sewer system, this is not gonna address that.
I see. And that is an issue because it happened in this last storm over at Crowley,
Yes, several
Berkshire.
homes got sewage.
Sewage
A lot of
and backed
homes,
up into their home and,
Not water damage, but
That's
sewage.
DOE,
yeah, well, I get that, but we.
Aren't there backup things they can put on?
Yeah, they can put it back, that's a Band-Aid though, it's not a fix.
Well, I understand, but if it stops
At
you.
least it helps, right?
Sometimes.
Better to have a Band-Aid than nothing, I'll tell
Put
you.
a softball in.
Well, there's other problems because the county puts those in the basement, so you could have issues with the foundation. if you-
And I have no problem with going second, third reading next
Ted,
time.
can you email
But I think
us
we need
the
to-
priority
All
list,
right.
like as soon as
Yeah.
possible? Because apparently we need to have that again.
Yeah, she's comfortable going second and third at our next council meeting, all right? So we're gonna move on.
We're doing one tonight.
We're doing one
and
tonight.
Are we saying we're doing it second and third next meeting, or
Yeah.
we're gonna start?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what she said.
Yes. Moving on to ordinance number 79, I'll take that one, and that's an ordinance authorizing retention of GPD Group for professional engineering and surveying services regarding Lake Forest drainage study. We're gonna do that at first reading. I did go and meet some people out there, and a lot of, there was some, Sylvia, you were with me, and they think, we walked up the stream, and so they think that a lot of this stuff is coming in from Twinsburg Township, and it has to do with Summit County and Twinsburg Township.
Well, I think that was already talked about the year before.
Right, you know,
Where-
so
where
I
is
don't
this
know
in
what
the priority
this
list?
is.
For a long time, we've been-
Who brought this here and what's this about?
Right, I mean, we've already done it.
Nick, where is this in the priority list?
We've wasted so much time
Nick,
looking at.
did you
trying to
bring this?
supply.
So can I ask a question?
Did you
Wait a
really
minute,
do
time out.
one,
Nick's
two,
already
three
got
on
a
this
question
one?
on the table.
Where is this in the priority list?
It's not.
Oh.
I mean, we added it to the list once.
So
before.
you're saying it's a low
And
priority?
again, the list evolves, so
Right.
as
It's a
problems
working
come up,
document.
yeah, right, you add stuff to the list.
And none of these homes have ever flooded.
Right, so is this a
I
high
got
priority or
flooding
low priority?
problems over here, and I have no
So
flooding.
we've
over
already
here.
initiated correspondence with the county engineer's office.
That's the idea.
And soil and water. There may not be, you might do the study and identify that there's no solution for it.
Will they participate in this?
Soil and water will participate in the form of, they're, in the township, they provide the stormwater pollution prevention plan, reviews and enforcement. So from a record standpoint, they have that information. We work closely with those guys on our own projects here. So this issue's been talked about with soil and water for years. And they've pledged that they would participate with us in any way that they can. They're not confident that they bring much value to the table in that regard, but they would
They
participate with
give
us.
us documents.
Right. Well,
But this is a low priority. I hate to say it to those folks, but this is a low priority.
Right, I
It's saying
agree.
I'm getting sand and dirt from my creek, but I'm not flooding anymore.
in a detention basin, which is the initial, is the initial identified.
Right.
And that's up in
That-
Twinsburg Township. They
Right.
think it needs to go up in Twinsburg Township,
But it
not
has to be
Macedonia.
something
Right, which we've been saying
Right.
for a long time. But the point being that, in dealing with soil and water and talking about this with the EPA, you might put a basin in there, and it may even exacerbate the problem. Because now, you're still gonna have concentrated flows through that. I'm just saying that because you might come up with this, you do the study and identify that even the basin's not gonna help. I mean, you've got sandstone throughout that whole corridor.
So why would we want to do the study? It seems like it's a natural occurrence. No one's getting flooded. You got some dirt in your creek and that's natural. So why the hell, excuse my French, are we spending $38,000 for something we don't know if we fix it and nobody's really being affected?
Would the county engage, because it's, Summit County, we've got a township, which is Summit County. Instead of us putting the bill, because I'm with David, if all the things are saying you're getting dirt in your creek, which is natural, you're getting sand in your creek, which is natural, but if there's a way to do it, it's owned by this other township, and Summit County be willing to negotiate and get involved.
So it's a possibility, and we've had that discussion, but they haven't.
This is not a must. This is an answer to what was going on 2 months ago. And 2 months ago, we thought the sand was coming from the Dyna supply. We had all kinds of things happening. It's changed. So this was an answer to that in defense of Nick, just so that you would know we can do the study and determine if there's a fix.
But I'd really like to see
That's
if
why.
we get cooperation out of the county with the township.
Yes, I
That
agree
we're
with
not
you.
paying this bill, because if you look at the one property, there's a building behind it. The house probably should never have been built, and the other house should never have been built, if you think about it.
What are you talking about? The houses
In Lake
like
Forest.
Yeah, Jason, and the one next to
Oh,
it,
okay.
where it comes right
Yeah,
down that
right.
creek, and the creek's right in his front
Oh.
yard.
Let me ask a question.
Hate to say it. We should
Let me,
probably Indian Creek in
let
the
me
50s.
ask a question in the spirit of compromise. What if we chuck 79, because hasn't been introduced, because it just seems to me to be a pie in the sky waste of time, and move 78 forward on a first reading?
We already said we were gonna do this.
I understand, but I also understand we are a legislative body and compromise as
Okay,
as part of the legislature. And
It's-
I would have discussed it to you in private, but everybody criticizes me when I try to talk to people in private, because even though that's a good way to get a compromise.
Here's,
Just
I'm-
a
I'll
thought.
just take 79 out and we'll just move on.
yeah.
I
I think we should take
Oh, that's fine,
79
I'm just
out.
trying to make a
Are we
proposal.
taking 79 out?
Yeah, we're just gonna take, well, we'll just take that one out and make 79, the very next one.
Okay.
Okay, you wanna do that?
All right,
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think it'd be good if Nick can see it, maybe.
Yeah, and
we
then
get
we're gonna-
something with the county.
all right.
Nick, you're
I
gonna go.
completely agree with that. We should, the county's responsible for managing stormwater for Twinsburg Township anyway. And they should fund.
79 will be Jan.
They should fund an adjustment.
Yes, right here.
Based on
It's not looking at it. It's just cross them out, then confirm. All right.
Okay.
Jan, I'm gonna give you, Jan, we're on ordinance number 79, and that's gonna be you, and that's the ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to complete and execute the preliminary legislation as mandated by ODOT for project sum 271,
Kid? That's a mouthful you just said, wasn't
what
it?
is, declaring an emergency. Don, you have anything on that?
That's basically a project that ODOT needs to approach the municipalities through which their projects are occupied, and they need to get the consent before they move
So
forward.
it's almost like.
The portion of this project that's in Macedonia is the Route 8 portion.
Okay, I see now.
So this is for permission, but we're not authorizing the expenditure. of
No,
funds.
because they have,
That's all been.
they
We
haven't
already
designed
committed money.
anything.
That's fine.
All right, so 3 readings, everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Sure. And that's
Nick?
Jan doing that one?
Yes. I
Yes,
thought
Jan
that
is
was
doing
Jan.
that one. Resolution number 80, Nick, would you please take that? That's a resolution allowing the mayor to apply for federal congestion mitigation air quality funds program by the Akron Metropolitan Area Transportation Study to upgrade the city of Macedonia signal system to improve the Highland Valley View intersection. Is that okay? Is everybody okay with 3 readings?
Yeah,
No brainer.
that map that came was, I couldn't really print it out, but that map was showing all the signals.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was about the flashing those top
Oh, okay.
trucks.
So this is just addressing
Just-
Highland.
No, this is
Valley View.
every signalized intersection, with the exception of the new ones you're getting, like at 82 and Shepherd will be upgraded with the current project.
Yes, I saw that.
So it's going to upgrade your entire signal system,
Okay.
including Highland and Valley View.
And
the
that's
app-
the most important right now because of the depot being built.
And the announcements typically come out pretty late, so applications are due June 30th in that legislation.
So this is doing every signal and.
It's fiscal,
Look at that one.
and here, it's fiscal year 21 will be the project.
Fiscal year 20.
Fiscal year 21.
It's kind of hard to go that far ahead.
Jesus.
And this, a resolution pledging cooperation.
It's 21.
I'm still talking 20.
Yes. Resolution number 81, 2015. Dave, you can take that one. That's a resolution pledging cooperation with the City of Macedonia with the Village of Northfield and Summit County Infrastructure Committee and the Ohio Public Works Commission regarding and hereafter the described improvement and authorizing the mayor to execute all contracts with the Village of Northfield and Ohio Public Works Commission regarding infrastructure grants. And that's I think that's just a no-brainer. We do 3 readings. That's, we're gonna partner with Northfield Village and get that ledge road fixed.
Well, wait,
Wait,
but
wait.
there's money involved in there.
Yes.
Right,
It's
I
like-
know that, but
Well, this is.
We're authorizing the mayor to sign contracts for $800,000?
I just
I
think
don't even know what the
it's
project is.
Well, the first one is to apply for the grant, Mayor.
So there's 2
Northfield.
resolutions. Northfield Village, they've got another project to the west side. The 2 projects, or the 2 resolutions, one, they're both the same project. One is to apply as 50% of the project for a grant, which really doesn't stand much of a chance as far as grants go. The second resolution, but you know, if you don't do it, the second resolution is to apply for the same project, 90% of the project funded through a loan, 30 years or older. So that's really the only difference between the 2 resolutions. One's applying for 50% grant, one's applying for 90%, 0 interest, 30-year loan.
Well, wait, but if we're applying for 90% zero interest loan for 30 years, that's a big financial commitment. What project are we even talking
This
about?
is Ledge Road from
I understand, but where's the project? Maybe I
the entire
missed-
corporate boundary from West Branch water bottles.
I understand that, but what are you gonna do? That's all I'm asking.
The portion in Northfield up to our western corporate boundary, moved and replaced. From that point to our eastern corporate boundary is no.
Are we planning on, what are we planning on doing?
If they apply for this year, for next year.
So-
That would be,
That's all I'm saying, is you're telling us that if we approve this, we need to have $800,000 ready for,
we have to set it aside.
right, for next year. And that,
We didn't say no. We've done that before where we've applied, we got the, we didn't get the grant, but we got the loan, and then we said no. There's no obligation.
well, but I don't know, why would we want to spend money applying for a loan, engineering fees, time from the mayor's office, and then say, no, I think we ought to figure out if we're gonna do it next year.
How long does it take to get an answer?
We were just approached by the village, so it's not like we didn't plan on spreading it out. The applications are.
It happened that way.
So we can do a first reading.
Yeah, let's
Because
do a
when do we
first
have-
reading.
You might as well scrap it from the first reading, because just
Oh,
like,
we need
just
to
like the
put it in.
CMAX stuff, this application's
They need to
done.
apply for it.
Why don't,
What's the date
If we're just
of the
applying
grant?
for a grant, we're not committing to anything.
well, that's a
That's
grant
different
or
than
a
the
loan.
one is you're telling
So-
us, well, we get, the mayor can enter into a
Right, but the
loan. I'm not
first one's
agreeing
just
to that.
saying, can we get this grant, correct? This is the first,
They're both the same project, one's to apply for a grant, and you still have commitments for your portion of the 50% of the remainder of the
For the
project.
grant.
Yes.
And then if we turn it down, that's gonna affect us for future grants.
But if we apply for 81, or if we pass 81 tonight, it's just a
It is.
grant,
I mean,
correct?
I'm-
We're only applying for a grant, we're not committing to anything.
You're not committing, no, but if you're successful and you turn it down, it does affect your future.
It didn't
Right.
change feature.
So,
I think we need to,
and if we get the grant, what would be our financial commitment for next year?
1.64.
But how, if we get a grant, how much of that, how much will we be responsible for next?
1.64. So we're in legislation.
Ours is
So-
823.
Right, 823,
That's what I
667.50.
820.
And with the grant, we pay 50% of that, or we pay?
Yeah, that would be your.
So we'd still be on the
50%
hook for 500,000.
No, 800.
823,000.
823.
That's our
Correct.
whole, that could be our whole our whole
Yes.
capital budget for next year. I'm sorry, I don't wanna irritate our neighbors to the west, but I have a real issue throwing the dice with, less than 24 hours notice.
I don't think it makes sense. This isn't this isn't a crisis. We do have to repair certain areas of ledge, that's
Yes,
absolutely right.
it's pretty
But
bad.
but the western boundary to the eastern boundary, I think that.
There's a lot of little.
There's a lot of other
little-
roads in
little streets
Macedonia
where
that are
people
desperately
live.
in need
Well,
of.
I don't
Birdies.
What?
Birdies.
Little birdies, little blueberries, a lot of little.
Gross.
So for the.
Not only that, we got some over in Lake Forest and in Thousand Oaks, I can't believe, that are in fair to poor condition. Which is, to me, saying we didn't properly review and inspect.
Fair condition, I'm fair, just so you know.
Okay.
So are we saying we don't wanna do these at all?
You're saying you want
First
to
reading,
cut a
well,
blacktop
we
across
can't
you?
do just a first reading. Right?
If you go first, then you might.
Just
there's
fail
no
it.
point.
There's
Might
no point.
as well wipe them.
So it's either
Might
one,
as
two,
well wipe
three,
them
or
out.
not.
Okay.
So I think,
Wipe
what
them
we're
all
hearing
off.
is you don't even offer them.
Yeah.
Cross them all out.
Either that or-
Take 'em off the table.
I'm not prepared to vote for it, I vote
That is a
against it.
big one.
All right, so we're just gonna stick with 80, and if nobody has anything else, we can take a
We
little
do.
break before
There,
seven.
isn't there another one here?
Wait a minute,
Computer
wait a minute.
maintenance one.
The last one
Is it
was
in,
80.
was there anything else?
80.
Right.
Wait a minute, I need to make sure it's out the
You're
wrong
gonna,
one.
you're gonna scratch out this one too.
All three? Or did I scratch out the wrong?
No, yours is 81 and 82, you're scratching out.
The last two on the page get scratched.
Okay, all right, I get it
Wrong
now.
one.
And we have an extra 7 minutes.
This one.
You've taken out three that you're not gonna deal with.
Right.
We'll do that more often. We
Take
get out
it
of
out.
here earlier.
The last two.
What?
Happy family. Lots of kisses. We're trying something different.
underneath that bridge, there's the road. Well, because, and especially when we had that storm, Brooke and I went through there that night, Saturday night, it was completely underwater. But it's just getting washed away because, you know, usually Jimmy would always make sure that the holes, the potholes were taken care of. Is that machine done yet? I heard the machine was being repaired. And, it's, they're working up there. That's really hurting everybody's heart. Depends on what kids are with. That's a joke with these kids.
You know what, we took the, anything we can do to
Why were the department short staffed? I didn't think they were, I thought they were over. Has anybody seen Shirley? I said that somebody died in her family, maybe one of her parents. We're only going to 80. Yeah, we're not, yeah, make sure. My iPad doesn't work as much, so I'm delayed it at least. But right now, in certain places, I have to go, her and Dave are trying to figure out the problem. The only thing that works is my iPhone. We can get email,